Are you even more attracted to her right now?
She's a cartoon, Gary.
I know, that's the part I like too. She's got that nose in real life. It's almost like aggressive.
Simon? Douchebag?
Alyssa? Douchebag?
Come on, this way, idiots!
Which one's douchebag?
That's me, I think.
Hey everyone, welcome back. If you've seen my previous video, you'd probably know that TF2 had an actual show or web series that was in development with teasers and everything. It was called Escape from Team Fortress, produced by Happy Little Guillotine Studios or HLG Studios, and funded by Machinima. Eventually though, the series fell into lost media status after the show lost its funding. I'll give a short summary of the show if you haven't seen my lost media deep dive, then get into the good news and main portion of this video. So let's recap. Three friends, Gary, Simon and Alyssa, reunite for a game night at their house. Something goes wrong and all of them get transported into TF2. Through the HLG Studio reel, we have several different short segments that give us a perspective into the overall dynamic of the accident and how the actual people react to being in a game mode. HLG Studios put together a rigid project with storyboards, voice actors and animation, but the lack of funding from Machinima eventually meant that the remaining episodes apart from the pilot just couldn't be animated. Thing is, we know the full pilot episode was completed, it was just a matter of contacting the studio and hoping they still had it on hand. Now though, I can safely say, with the help of amazing people who saw my video and reached out on their own accord, I got in touch with Yuri Baranovsky, the co-founder of HLG Studios and the main scriptwriter for Escape from Team Fortress. Together we talked about the series and how he fully wanted to release the pilot for everyone to see after putting together a few finishing touches on the current master. He showed me the pilot and gave me a teaser to show you all, which is what you saw at the start of the video. With this, he also agreed to an interview which you can check out in its entirety shortly. So, Escape from Team Fortress has indeed been found, with Yuri and I arranging its release today on the official HLG Studios channel. Give it a watch, it's definitely something incredible and a lot different to what I was expecting. Now let's get on to that interview, where Yuri's going to answer all of your questions in good detail. Enjoy. Hello?
Hello.
Yo, what's up? How are you?
I'm good.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing alright. It's about 9 o'clock.
Where are you?
9.
Oh yeah. So you're in Europe, so you're in England?
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for shining a light on this little project we did a million years ago.
That's alright. I found it online. I was looking for things to make. I was really interested in things like lost media, things that, you know, have gone lost, people made a long time ago. And I found it online on the Lost Media wiki. And it was really interesting. So a couple people here and there made videos about it in the past. So
I will, like, every 2 years I'll get like a flurry of emails about it because I think someone finds it on a website. And I mean, I honestly, just even as a filmmaker, love the idea of people being into lost media, because there's so many things that we get to make and then you know, they don't see the light of day for whatever reason. So it's cool.
Yeah. So what is, like, how exactly does your studio like operate? Like, how was it founded? How was it, you know, I don't really know about those things too much.
Totally. I'll tell you the whole thing. So we are a like boutique production company, which is a really nice way of saying a very small production company. But we started in digital in like 2006, just a few, you know, friends. We made a web series basically, like when they weren't really making web series yet, just as YouTube came out. And it kind of took off for us and got us into like advertising and more like scripted things. We did like a series on Hulu and things like that.
Oh.
And so it was a weird one. It was like half branded, half on Hulu. It was called Leap Year. I don't think anyone knows it at this point. It's like it was in 2012. Yeah, it's on our channel somewhere, I think. But yeah, so you know, we do production and creative and all of it, and so I'm a writer director. Like, you know, one of the other guys is an editor, one of the other guys is a director of photography, and my brother writes with me sometimes and does our music a lot of times.
Nice.
But so and this came up. This was, God, I'm trying to remember. I keep trying to find what year this was in. I want to say it was like 2014 or something, 2015. But Machinima, I don't know if you remember Machinima.
Oh yeah, I do.
But yeah, right. Yeah, so I had a friend who worked there, and they were doing a bunch of content, and they came out. They reached out to me and were like, "Do you want to do something in the Team Fortress engine?" And I will admit that I did not like. I knew of it, and like in the world, I've heard of it,
Oh,
but I
right.
didn't really, I didn't know exactly what it was. So I did a bunch of research, and I used to love as a kid this movie called Stay Tuned. I don't know if you remember this. It was like in the early 90s
Nah, that was probably
with
before my
John
time.
Woo. I was gonna say, I don't know if how old you are. I'm gonna age myself. It's awesome. It's
Yeah.
about he basically gets the satellite installed in his hat like for his TV, and he gets sucked into his TV with his remote control, and he's in all these like bizarre, darker versions of real TV shows,
Yeah.
and he's like trying to get out of it, and he's stuck in these worlds, right? And so when they were like, "What would you do with Team Fortress?" I was like, "Oh, I kind of like that idea. These like three friends get together, haven't seen each other for a while, play this game, and are sucked into it somehow, and are now stuck in this like completely, insane, like ultra violent game when that was not, not their plan."
So it was
Um,
your first
yeah.
introduction to and like Valve and
Yes.
TF2 as a whole. Machinima came to you with the idea of TF2 already, you know.
Yeah, I think the only idea they had was basically like we have a really good animator. Would you be interested in like do you have any ideas for just like the engine
Interesting.
for the animation? And then I did a bunch of research. I used to play Counter-Strike when I was a kid. That's Valve, right? I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Remember that? Yeah, yeah. So I played Counter-Strike. So I knew like the vague like engine, and how it runs.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and then I did a bunch of research and kind of immersed myself in it and then wrote again, I'm trying to remember how many episodes. I want to say it was like eight,
So it was like a mini
probably eight
web
to
series
10.
kind of thing.
Yeah, and each of them are pretty short, I think. It's like 4 to 5 minutes. Um, and yeah, we recorded it. It was awesome. I think the actors are really fun. Um,
Yeah,
there, a lot
they
of them were
definitely
like,
are. Yeah, I love them.
yeah, yeah, you saw the pilot now. Yeah, they're so funny and they're like good, they're good actors. A couple of them are also influencers like Anna Kana.
Hmm.
And we fully recorded it, and I'm trying to remember I think we edited at least a few episodes just like with the audio, and the animator was animating it, and like it was digital in 2014, so Machinima wasn't spending very much money on this at all,
No.
and the animator was like a college student, and he was like trying to animate a full TV show.
So the
Oh,
animation came from Machinima, not actually your studio. Like they
yes,
brought in an animator for
so
you.
they connected us with the animator. Yeah, and the animator worked with us. So basically, like they were just like, "Here's a guy who's really good at this," and I was like, "Okay."
Oh
And so he
right.
and I talked about the plan, and he kind of would, we discussed like sort of storyboards and what I imagined, and he was so good and imaginative, so he would add like so many cool ideas and moves, and he was just yeah, he was great. I want to say his name was Av Espolita. Espolita. I have to find. I'll send you his. He used to have a YouTube channel. I'm gonna try to find it for you just so we could like link to him because he is really good.
That'll be
I
interesting
don't know if he does it.
to check him out and
Yeah.
see what he's been up to.
Oh, see, I just looked him up. He's the lead animator at Ubisoft in the Philippines. So
No
yeah,
way.
he's really good.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's that's really
So
cool.
he's come a long way.
Yes, yeah.
He's come a long way. Yeah. So he was really young when he did this, and he was amazing. And then they were just like, he was just taking a while because, look, it's like this thing that unfortunately studios don't understand, which is like you either pay someone a lot of money so they could stop doing what they're doing and finish it, or you
Yeah.
pay them a little bit, but then they have to take time to do it because they can't stop their life. So he was just, he was just chipping away at it. And then they were like, oh, it's taking too long. And they pulled the plug on the project
The
and
whole
then went
thing.
out of business. Like, yeah, the whole thing. And they went out of
Hmm.
business, I think, pretty shortly after. So we've just had it, and it's like
So it was
I'm not an
completely
animator.
foreign. Like
Yeah.
this whole thing was just foreign to you guys. Animated TF2, this kind of thing. Did the
Yeah, I know. Is that awful? Yes.
so the voice
Yes, it was.
actors,
And
all
I
the
know.
people. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. No,
All
no,
the
go
people
ahead. Go
working
ahead,
on it,
please.
like did they even know what TF2 was? Like apart from the
I'm
animator, all the
going to.
voice actors.
Yeah, the animator was obviously, yeah, he was like, he would animate specifically, or I don't know if it's specifically in that engine, but he was very good at that engine, obviously.
Yeah.
The actors, I would guess, were not. They
No.
were just really great actors that we got to,
Yeah.
be a part of it. Um, and I wasn't in the beginning, but I knew immediately that if I wrote a bunch of bullshit without actually doing research, that the fans of the game would hate, like, nobody wants someone who doesn't know what
No.
they're doing to mess with your game. And the one thing I did too was like I tried to make it a little bit like it's like these are real, quote unquote, they're like regular human beings stuck in this game. So they too do not know the world very well, and like things are introduced to them in foreign ways and they learn
Mm.
about it. So like what I tried to do is that like as I explored the game and like learned about it, I kind of wrote the characters exploring and learning the game. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
sort of like it helped kind of to write. I think like they all came from my point of view, which is like, what is this? What's happening? How does this all work?
So
So
that was the like entire premise of the show, just the complete like random people getting into TF2.
so yeah, the and again, I'm gonna it was about 10 years ago, but the basic premise, as far as I remember, was that these three people get pulled into the game, and they find out that there's like a group of people who are like regular humans who have been pulled into the game, and they're like just trying to survive. And there's like they figure out there's a way to get out,
Oh
and
right.
they basically have to like go about a series of missions to collect things and to get things and to get out. Yeah.
So all the characters in TF2, like the people they're
Yeah.
fighting, how
Yes.
was it like the people who got sucked into the game versus the actual cast of TF2 on like two separate teams?
Um. Oh
Would you
God, I should
remember
remember
something like
this.
that?
I don't think. Here's the other problem with this. It's funny when you get into the like making of things. I don't know if it makes it less attractive or more attractive, but like when Machinima came to us with this, I was like, "Do you guys have the rights to this game?" And they were like, "No,
Yeah,
this
that's
is
what I was thinking.
like yeah." They're like, "This is under like satire laws," and I'm like, "Okay." So they definitely we definitely stayed away from any like fiction that like Valve thought of, or you know what I
Yeah,
mean, that exists
yeah, that makes
around it.
sense.
So I'm pretty sure that a lot of it was like I have to look. I have the script somewhere, but I think like the main bad guy was someone who had been sucked into the game like many, many, many years ago.
Oh,
Um, through like some invention or something. I forget exactly. And so he was like pulling people in. Um, and the whole thing I think was about like finding your friends and like like relationships and like what it means to like support each other and work together and be a friend to someone and
mm.
in this like insane scenario. But yeah, we didn't use a lot. I don't think we tried to stay away from like the actual Valve stuff because yeah, Machinima did not want to get sued.
So it was entirely machinima. There was no like any thought of actual official endorsement. It was like
No,
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 because people
no.
refer to it like it's a common mistake. You see it online. People think, oh, it's a TF2 show, like an actual television show.
Yes,
Yeah,
I've seen that. Yeah,
yeah.
no, and I wonder like you and I are about to put this stuff on our YouTube, and I'm like, are they gonna flag? I don't think like it's been off the. No one's right. There's no game anymore, so I don't think Valve will care. But um,
Oh no, TF2
yeah,
is still
it's not
around.
like a sanction. Is it still around?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
really it's really popular right now. It's been most popular it has
that's
been in
wow.
years.
God, people are gonna hate me after this interview. I'm sorry, everyone who's listening.
No.
You know what? The way people talk about it, in the comments and stuff, makes me think, oh, okay, well, it's no, I see, it's still around. Okay, why haven't they done a TF3? What's happening? It's been around for so long.
People really want updates and stuff. People think
Yeah,
Valve they've been slowly kind of making the community make the game more than them. If that makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does make sense. I mean, it's a whole. I mean, that's what I remember discovering was like, wow, there is such a powerful fan base
Yeah.
of people, and there's
Definitely.
like memes and that's why honestly it was fun to like because I definitely worked in some memes into it, not in the first episode, and I think there was one about hats, like collecting hats.
Yeah.
That I worked in. Like I definitely remember finding a bunch of memes and I like read message boards and stuff. I really tried to immerse myself in it. Um
Mm.
but Yeah, look, there's a lot of fan made videos of it, I guess, out there. So hopefully no one flags ours.
I mean, it was like 2014. We're getting on nearly 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Machinima and
Yeah.
all those things are like they're like a product of like I guess this show what I saw and the teaser of people watching is like definitely it's a product of back then machinimas kind of things like that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean
Yeah. It's yeah.
it's kind
Go
of
ahead.
unfair to hold it up to like standards nowadays. So it's still really good. It's a product of like how you made it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. I agree. It is very old. It was made with very little money,
Mm.
and I think like I think it was like sort of cobbled together, and I think honestly, I think it would have been really fun. I think the actors did a like I remember recording with them and just like laughing a lot. Um,
That's nice.
so it's too bad that it never. I wish we had like the full season we could release.
Yeah.
But maybe someone who's an animator listening to this will be like, I'll animate 7 more
People
episodes
definitely
for
talk
free.
about that like in my comments. I'm getting things about
Really?
what if this was like what if the show was actually animated all of it and people actually go out their
Yeah.
way to talk to you and find these things. It's really nice.
It's cool. I mean, listen, and you know what? I will say that every single person who's reached out to me has been like very kind and very
Yeah,
like polite and nice.
I'm
So it
glad
seems
of
like
that.
a really cool community of people. Yeah, it's great.
So like the actual about the actual show
Yeah.
so how was the dynamic of the characters kind of how did it blend with the TF2 the universe? How was Gary and Simon and these kind of guys, what kind of people do you remember something like this? What kind of people were they like? I can tell by their voices they're just kind of your average average guys and they just got put in this random ass place.
Yes,
How
I
would they
remember.
interact?
I believe that Simon, the one who's kind of a dick, I
Yeah,
think that's Simon. I believe the sort of backstory of it was that he invited his two friends to his house, and they hadn't heard from him in like years. And they all used to be good friends, and he was kind of a dick.
yeah.
And then he invited them all to his house, and they're like, well, what is this? Okay. They hadn't seen each other, and then this happened to them. And so throughout the series, they're kind of unpacking like what happened to our friendship? What did you do to us? Like, what is this? And then I believe there's a twist that the girl in the group is actually somehow responsible for bringing them in to the game, and it may have been like to bring like that she was like the happiest in this time when they were kids and
Oh
friends,
right.
and that she tried to like through I have to remember what the actual vehicle was, like how they got into this game. There was like some kind of whatever, some magical thing,
Mm.
but I believe she somehow was responsible for it in an attempt to like rekindle their friendship.
So that was like
So
kind of the leading plot of this series was about these
that's right.
characters. Yeah.
Yeah, these like kind of just like these friends who had lost touch and who are reconnecting in the most absurd and craziest way possible in essentially like a war zone, and
Mm.
sort of learning like and one of them, Simon, like really is enjoying himself because he's like in his real life he's sort of like this just kind of guy who nothing's really he's got nothing going for him, and in this game he finds himself to be like kind of good at it, and he's like really happy being in this like world, being stuck here, while Gary is like, No, this is insane. Like, how are you enjoying this?" So there's a lot of that dynamic of like one wanting to go home and the other one being like, "This is amazing."
So like, do you know the girl character Alyssa? I think's her name. Was it like
Yes, yes.
yeah? Did she fit into this like trio of Gary, Simon, and her? Was it like a like a love triangle thing?
Yeah.
It definitely it was.
I believe yes. I believe that it was a lot of love triangle. Like they definitely had like at least one of them had a crush on her for sure when they were kids.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and like in the pilot, you see she gets like kidnapped, and they think they have to go save her, but it ends up being like kind of part of her plan.
All right.
Um, so she's pseudo villainish, I believe, but like ultimately a good character, I think. And then the woman at the end, I forget her name, but she's like the general. She's in charge of the like the rebels, essentially the humans who are trapped in the game trying to survive, trying to get out.
Is that the female sniper model? The one like at the end of the pilot?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Played by Haley Mancini, who's an amazing voice actress who does like a lot of cartoons and stuff.
That's really cool.
She's like in the Powerpuff Girls and a bunch of other things. Yeah, I'm like thinking if I could find the scripts, I'm sure I have them.
That would be really cool to see.
Yeah. Maybe I'll like send them over to you in another follow up. It's been 10 years, but yeah.
Did they ever get out at the end of the series? Did they get out of TF2?
Do they get out? That's a really good question. Oh man, do they get out of TF2? I feel like probably I left it on a cliffhanger. If I had to guess, knowing just myself, I would say that probably that I left it on a cliffhanger because the hope was that we would do more.
Oh yeah,
exactly. Gotta think of season 2. You can't get out.
Yeah.
But you know what? I will after this conversation. Now I'm like, okay, I have to find the scripts. I'm sure I emailed them and stuff to Machinima at some point, and they're all in my email somewhere. So I'll find them for you, and maybe it'd be fun to do something, or like I'll also ask my editor to see how much we have edited, because like maybe there's a world where we release just like an audio version of episode 2 or episode
like
3.
The actual the first animated portion, the pilot, that's the only animated bit, yeah. So in a way, it has been.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
Like I bet the animator has it somewhere, or no, he lost it too. He had animated like a bunch of the second episode before like the whole thing fell apart, and that is truly lost because I asked him like years later if he had it, and he was like, no, like my hard drive got messed up and it got lost.
I won't press too much into him, but I'll see if he has anything. He might have something still around from it.
Yeah, hopefully he had I think he and I had a really fun time doing it, but it was like, it's always a bummer when the thing falls apart. But again, it's like, I told the guys at Machinima, I'm like, he is very, very good. You have to pay him a lot more. Like this, you can't expect so much out of someone.
That was like a whole thing with Machinima. They used to just not pay people that much. It was just like a whole network kind of.
God, do you even know that? How is that's a bad reputation to have? Even filmmaker, like it's in the
Machinima like started out. You see all these Call of Duty videos, back then.
Machinima like first they made this amazing sci-fi show once with like a ton of money. Like they came in swinging, and then they were like,
yeah,
and started making things for no money. It's a lot of these digital places. Like that's I said we started in digital, and it's like. We still sort of dabble, but like now we're trying to do features and things like that, feature films, because like digital was either taken over by the studios, and they kind of got rid of a lot of the people who like started digital and who sort of made it what it is today.
Yeah.
And then the other people who, for a while, the only people who were left, they were barely paying anything, and then they would go out of business all the time, and then eventually almost all of them went out of business, and I was like, I don't know how much more I could do this like digital filmmaking thing. So now it's like we're trying to do more of the traditional stuff because it's hard, but at least it pays. Like the digital stuff was rough sometimes. Reflecting.
Pick it like if you had the chance, if you had like a whole animating team of SFM like come in, would you say that you'd pick it back up?
I genuinely really enjoyed the experience, and honestly, if a few animators were like, let's do this, I would absolutely do it. I think it's really fun. It's the first animated thing I had done, I believe, and I found it to be a really enjoyable experience. And there's just things in animation you could do that you can't do in real life, obviously, unless you have millions of dollars. So it's like it's cool. You can, as a writer, it was cool just to be like, and then this crazy thing happens, and the animator's like, okay, it's not like you need millions of dollars in film gear. You just animate it. So it was cool and freeing and fun. And again, like the community seems really powerful and really like excited and cool. And it's always fun to make things for people who want to see things, I
could tell that they definitely appreciate all of this. They appreciate like the release of this pilot, and because like it has been a sort of like little niche thing. Like if you type TF2 like Lost, this, the Lost Media wiki.
Yeah.
If you type Team Fortress
Yeah.
into this, you get the TF2 Lost build or something. But the only other thing you get is this. So it is a kind of a thing to people to be interested in. So I think they'll really appreciate it. But...
That's fun. No, I love it, and thank you to you and to all your fans. And like you're gonna say this in your thing, but we'll release it Tuesday.
Yeah.
On what is that? The 12th. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's fun. Again, it's like I've made so many things that people haven't seen, and it's very funny to me that I made this thing that never saw the light of day, but has a little fan base without.
I mean,
without knowing what it is.
Fan art out there.
It's cool.
There's some fan art out there of it.
Yeah.
You type it up on Google.
Yeah, it's cool. It's exciting. So hopefully everyone likes this pilot. I'm glad you liked it. It was fun rewatching it and being like, oh yeah, this is fun.
Do you mind if I ask like one or two more questions about the characters and such?
Please. No, you're good.
I've read the IMDb page. Obviously, were you meant to star yourself as a character? Like, it's called Mental Gen.
That's right. Mental Gen, and that was an inside joke, and I remember doing research on it, and I remember that it was specific to the game. Do I remember what it is? I don't. You probably know what I was.
It's
doing
like it's like a picture of Spy with his mouth full of cigarettes. It's one of the meme faces.
Yes. Yes.
Would it been something like that, like an inside joke kind of thing? Is that what you mean?
It is an inside joke, and I think I have like one line in it.
Like a cameo.
And I do not. Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it is. And again, we'll have to have a follow-up when I just like read the scripts and then I go, okay, here's what the actual thing is.
So
yeah,
I've got loads of people like the little clips. Your reel for your company. You had a little kind of like little 2 to 1 second clips, a couple of those in there of the pilot.
Yeah.
The Spy, when he looks out, there's a shadow in the background, and I was trying to be like, I was very analytical. I was trying to make sense of it.
I remember that, and I remember people asking about the shadow, and I saw people analyzing it.
Can you do me a favor and tell me that?
Yes.
Can you say that was the engineer's shadow?
I'm gonna just look at. I want to see the clip. Hold on, I'm gonna find it. Oh yeah. Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about. He's like looking shocked. Right. Okay, I see it. Okay, wait. Okay, there's a I see. There's a shadow. I think that's just him. Yeah, I think that's his hat. That's a shadow hat. Hopefully, again, everyone who watches the pilot is that was my one concern. I'm like, everyone's been waiting and talking about this for so long. I hope they don't watch and go, oh, not worth the wait.
I saw it and I thought it was gonna be more I thought it's full of action, but I thought it was gonna be like primarily based on action. It's really there's loads of comedy to it. That's what I love. Like the characters are so funny. To me,
yeah, I love the idea, like just like imagining yourself waking up and you're in that world, which like that was my first thought. When I was looking into the game, I was just like, it's so wacky like just Team Fortress itself. It's wacky and really violent, and it just like really amuses me to think like what would the reaction of someone be if you just are like, oh my god, I'm in the middle of this. It's just like complete insanity.
Yeah.
So it's just inherently funny. But yeah, it was the intention was for it to be like a more scripted, like TV, like a series. Like there's definitely a bunch of action stuff in it, as far as I remember. But yeah, we wanted it to have like a good story and everything.
Was you did you get more into TF2 afterwards? Did you pick up maybe? Stop playing it? I played it for a bit and then I stopped, but I actually really liked it. I think it's really fun. I love those old like I said, I played Counter-Strike, and TF2 was slightly different, but I do enjoy those kind of games. I should play it. Especially now. There's loads of people making stuff about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it... So Valve is, like, still updating it and everything?
Yeah. It's mostly, as I said, it's mostly community-made stuff they're putting in. It's not really any official content, but people still, hope that Valve will have a look and think, oh, we should make more stuff for it in the future.
Yeah, I definitely remember playing it a few times and really liking it. I love the animation. Like it's just like a really fun visual.
Yeah, just like goofy.
Yeah, just really goofy, cartoony, and like really expressive. Like that's actually what I really enjoyed in the animation of it. Like you could actually do some really fun expressions and everything.
Honestly,
we can also do a follow up. Like I genuinely want to find the script. Like if people like this video and like the pilot, like I'll try to find the scripts and like we can talk about it.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. Was it all recorded and edited? Like the whole rest of the series was recorded, right?
I have to. So I'm gonna talk to my editor this week. Definitely we did a few episodes. Like there's definitely all of them were recorded, and then we definitely put together. I think we may have put together all of them in the edit, but if not, at least like 3 or 4 or 5, I think were like. So what we do is we record the voices, do a bunch of improv, do a bunch of different versions of it and takes and everything, and then I sit down with an editor and just cut together purely the sound, just the dialogue and like the rhythm of it, and then we'd send it to our animator. So I think we have like the edited versions of at least a few episodes, somewhere on a hard drive. So I'll try to find those.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna see, because if we have the whole thing, that would be fun. Just because if any animator wants to just like take it and go. Like,
yeah, definitely. Like people are definitely willing to if they have all this to make kind of take it up upon themselves to finish it off. There definitely are going to be people out there who want to do that.
Yeah. Okay. I will make that promise then. I'm gonna look into see just like how many episodes we have and what it is. Like God, I remember getting pretty deep into it, but like did we finish? I do not remember. What we definitely have is like just the audio. Like we have some edited, but if we didn't edit them, we still have the recordings somewhere. It just it gets a little tricky then. It's like if we have to edit it and do all the sound, like that starts being like we have to pay people to put time in and on our end. So it gets a little tricky, but who knows? If this one does really well, maybe it's a conversation.
Awesome, yeah, I'm down to do a follow-up if you want, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
I'm really happy for doing all
started.
this. Really happy.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm glad we got together. Yeah, I got a bunch of messages all of a sudden, like from everywhere, like Instagram, Twitter, and I was like, "Where are you guys finding this?" Yeah, no, it was great. It was again, everyone was really nice, and I'm like, "Where are you guys finding this? Like, where?" And so everyone pointed me to your video, and I was like, "No, it's fun. I'm excited to release it and just see what people think." I hate making stuff, and then nobody sees it. That's such a bummer. So it's cool. Cool, man. Awesome. Well, we'll keep talking.
Thank you so much, Yuri.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.